Hi, my name is Muhammed Yasin Yashar, and this is my final project. So my subject was about 3D procedural modeling and sign distance functions and fields, etc. Here is my project title: Variation of procedural 3D models generated by colonization algorithms using sign distance function interpolation. So first of all, what really is an SDF? So SDF is a function, a mathematical function that represents a field. Therefore, any point in that field, it returns the sign distance to the nearest surface. And the field, sign distance field, is the sample space that represents the shape itself. So we have here an example, a 3D sphere, and at the right hand side we have the formula for to be able to calculate it. This is relatively easy. But when we have other different primitive shapes, things can get complicated very quickly. Here is a cylinder and the derived formula. So to be able to make our lives easy, uh, we have decided to adopt an approach that uses some sort of a domain specific language, a custom domain specific language that helps us to create 3D SDF models by just writing or generating some code. So we have also get the advantage of space colonization algorithm for our procedural tree models. We need to have we need to have some sort of an algorithm that help us to create some sample procedural trees to begin with. So, and the R language SDFL code helps us to wrap our generated tree skeletons with smooth cylinders, and then the results are ready to export with the help of well-known algorithm marching cubes. So we have here some examples of our sample trees, and then we decided to adopt a decoder only autoencoder approach from one of the uh, nicest paper out there, which is called Deep SDF. We have inspired a lot from that, and this model going to help us to encode our uh, sample trees in a latent space and let us be able to interpolate between the latent vectors, learned latent vectors, to be able to derive the dataset. And here, by the way, this figure does not represent the reality. This is just an example. So we have here an interpolation result like thing. We have at the left hand side a base tree, at the right hand side we have another base tree, and what we want to achieve is to get a naive tree out of these two. So thank you for listening to me right now. So let me show you the code. First of all, what I want to show you is a really quick demo of how we interact with space colonization algorithm. What we have here, the tree skeleton, and the way it works is we have auxin sources. They are just attraction points. They guide the nodes of tree to make it this sort of shape, and it just emerge and look like a tree. And this is how we generate our samples. So what we have here is another file. So this is relatively easy to understand. What we do is load the SDF files. By the way, I first need to mention that after we run the simulation that I previously run, which is this, and then generate the architecture, this save the result in the format. As you can see here, this is the generated code that I mentioned earlier. This is SDFL code. So this goes through our compiler and it generates a fragment shader. It generates a fragment shader to be able to render this in our SDF renderer, and also it generates a compute shader to be able to extract samples of SDFs in a certain resolution. So then we extract the results, we save them in these binary files. They are just array of SDF samples in a certain resolution. Then what we have here, a Python file, a Jupyter notebook that reads those binary files and then generate grids to be able to know the positions of SDF samples in a normalized way, and then save the dataset. It can also downsample in a certain scale. Then we have here some SDF3 points as MPZ files. These are just big NumPy arrays in a compressed form. Then we have here the deep SDF inspired decoder, autoencoder. So we just load the required modules. Then we can load the data, like for example SDF points 128, like here. And we have here the latent dimension, XYZ dimension, epochs, and batch size and learning rate and stuff. And we have here tiny CUDA NN. This helps us a lot. This is an early compiled specific CUDA kernel that helps us. It is created for certain speed and performance, and this works with a specific number of neurons. And we have here the training loop. Here are some loss functions that we have tried. And save checkpoint function. We have also some plotting functions that I need to run, and what we have here is one of the main functions. This helps us to interpolate the latent vector, with by just scaling with a certain weight in a certain resolution. And we also have a clear volume function that we mentioned in our article, and we also have a structural tree blend function. As you can see here, since our SDF data is just a grid-based 3D array of samples, we can just apply some convolutional operations like a Gaussian filter. Then we have here the load checkpoint function to be able to load the saved model, and let me load it real quick. So now I can just interpolate between the different trees. Here are the three indices, and when I run that, I get some sort of result. If I didn't clear the volume, I would get something like that. So to get rid of these floating things, I need to do this. Then I have another one. Yeah. So as you can see here, these are very less detailed trees. So what we really need to do, I actually come up with this idea to blend them together and create more and more variation. And here what we have. So I can also decrease the level of clearing the volume, I mean the distance from the surface. As you can see here, we can get this also. So that's it. You can always find a lot of more information in the article. So thank you for watching and listening.